Overnight, dozens of acres of farmland were torn apart into deep, muddy trenches, as if the ground had been ripped open by heavy machinery. Infrared cameras captured packs of wild hogs crashing through fences under the cover of darkness, only to disappear again within minutes. What made it even more alarming was that despite the steel traps set across the property, the hogs kept returning as if they already knew exactly what was waiting ahead. That was when many farmers realized the real problem was not the traps themselves, but how quickly the wild hogs were learning to survive. In the United States, wild hogs have become one of the most destructive invasive species. Their population exploded from around 2 million in 1990 to nearly 9 million in less than 3 decades. And the problem is no longer limited to America. Australia, Germany, and Spain are facing similar outbreaks. Once night falls, groups of 20 to 40 hogs leave the forest and sweep across farmland like massive black waves, destroying crops and causing billions of dollars in damage every year. As the pressure continues to grow, large-scale control programs have been launched across many regions. From helicopter surveillance to infrared cameras operating all night long, every piece of data is used to track the movement patterns of the herds. Among all the methods available, corral traps remain the most effective when used correctly. Unlike smaller traps that catch only a few animals, these systems are designed to target entire sounders before the hogs have time to react. An effective corral trap is usually about 30 to 40 feet wide and built with heavy steel mesh strong enough to withstand the impact of dozens of full-grown hogs. The fencing typically stands at least 5 feet high to stop them from jumping out in panic. Many modern systems now use remote-controlled drop gates connected to live cameras. Operators monitor the herd from their phones and trigger the gate only when every animal has moved deep inside the enclosure. The moment the steel gate slams shut lasts only seconds, but determines the success of the entire operation.
Antler magnet draw them up.
But even the best designed trap can fail if it is placed in the wrong location. Areas near water sources, soft ground, or established travel routes consistently produce much higher success rates. Trackers search for signs like freshly rooted soil, mud smeared against tree trunks, long body rub marks, and deep hoof prints pressed in the ground. When these signs appear night after night, it usually means the entire herd is using the area as a regular route.
Out. Maybe just to help out, but dude.
The biggest mistake is often impatience. Professional control teams do not simply set a trap and wait. Instead, They spend days allowing the hogs to lower their guard. Fermented corn is scattered around the trap site for 3 to 7 days while the gate remains open so the animals can move in and out freely. Infrared cameras capture the lead hogs venturing deeper inside each night. At first they linger cautiously near the entrance, but eventually the entire herd begins feeding as if the location were completely safe. Bait plays a critical role in the process. Fermented corn creates a powerful scent that spreads far through the night air. During hotter seasons, watermelons, apples, and peaches are also commonly used because wild hogs constantly search for moisture. When everything is done correctly, a single corral trap can capture dozens of hogs in one activation. Some camera footage even shows entire herds packed tightly inside the enclosure without realizing the steel gate is about to crash down behind them. But the deciding factor is not the trap itself. It is the timing of the gate closure. Trigger it too early, and the remaining hogs will escape and remember the location as a dangerous area. After that, the entire herd may abandon the route completely. But when operators patiently wait until nearly every animal is fully inside, the chances of capturing the whole group increase dramatically. The sight of dozens of hogs slamming into steel fencing moments after the gate drops has become one of the most intense images in many control operations.
Get in there.
Everybody, let's go.
That is why the battle against wild hogs has never been just about the strength of the trap. It is a battle of strategy between humans and animals that are adapting faster with every passing night. One small mistake can cause the entire herd to disappear, only to return later even more cautious than before. That is why the most effective control systems are not built on luck, but on patience, constant monitoring, and the ability to accurately read herd behavior. If you find these strategies incredible, leave a comment and make sure to follow the channel for more intense encounters between humans and wildlife.
Bubba, come here. You better stop it. Dang.
During the day, the field still carries its familiar sense of calm, neatly aligned rows of soil, crops growing steadily under the sunlight. But after just one night, by the next morning, the entire scene looks completely overturned. The ground is torn apart into large chunks, roots ripped out of the moist soil, and scattered gaps appear like the aftermath of an unannounced rampage. What's frightening is not only the level of destruction, but the fact that it repeats almost every night. Silent, relentless, and unpredictable. That is a clear sign that without timely action, the entire harvest could vanish within just a few weeks. And for that reason, a large-scale trapping system begins to be deployed right at the forest's edge, identified as the habitual movement route of the wild boar herd. The first trap, a tension net design, is completed in just one day. It is placed in a strategic position, discreet enough yet still effective in attracting the targets. It doesn't take long for the first signal to appear. A few wild boars are caught inside, but instead of staying still, they react violently, charging straight into the net, repeatedly slamming into it with such force that the entire structure trembles. Each impact makes one thing clear: this system is not enough to withstand their true strength. The decision is made almost immediately: keep the existing trap, but shift toward a more reinforced solution. To the north of the forest, where the terrain is narrower and more enclosed, a new system is set up. This time, it is a steel gate trap, thick frame, solid locking mechanism, and an automatic trigger that does not rely on tension like the net. The design aims at a single objective: to withstand direct impacts from multiple animals at once without collapsing.
Live stream button, press record, and watch.
When everything is ready, night falls and silence takes over. No unnecessary movement, no excess sound, only waiting. Then, the first signs appear. The scent of bait spreads, drawing individuals into the trap zone. At first a few, then the entire herd. Once all have crossed the boundary, the mechanism triggers with a dry click. The steel gate slams down, sealing off every possible exit. Inside, the reaction is almost immediate. Direct charges, attempts to break the structure, the sharp clang of metal with every collision. But this time, everything is under control. No gaps, no weak points. The trap holds its ground, despite the chaos within. In another area near the forest edge, a similarly reinforced trap is also triggered, capturing more individuals. Although the numbers are not yet large, the effectiveness is already becoming clear. Damage across the field drops significantly after just a few nights. Areas that were once torn apart begin to stabilize. However, the problem does not end there. In Texas, the wild boar population is estimated to exceed 3 million, a number large enough to turn any region into a hotspot if not properly controlled. That is why trapping is not just a temporary response, but a long-term strategy. The final night is considered the turning moment. At the main trap, the number of animals appearing increases significantly. Not only adults, but younger ones begin to enter the area. The space inside becomes increasingly crowded. Then, at the perfect moment, the mechanism is triggered. The gate slams down, and the entire space erupts. Repeated impacts crash against the steel frame, the noise piercing and intense. The ground trembles under the pounding footsteps. The entire structure seems pushed to its limits. But this time, nothing breaks. Everything holds firm. And that proves one critical point. If the system were not strong enough, it would have collapsed in that very moment. And that is the answer to what had been happening over the past several weeks. When food sources become stable, wild boars will not stop on their own. Control is no longer an option. It is a necessity. This is not a random confrontation, but a carefully calculated strategy to protect the entire harvest. And in situations like this, the question is no longer simple. What truly determines the outcome? A system strong enough to withstand all pressure, or the patience to wait for the perfect moment?
Saw me at all. I held for a long. For many years, wild boars have been considered one of the most dangerous invasive species in North America. But in Alberta, Canada, the situation has been unfolding in a way few people expected. Groups of 20 to 50 wild boars have been appearing at night, crossing farmland, moving into small towns, and leaving scenes of destruction behind. Agricultural land has been torn apart into long, deep trenches, with damage in some areas exceeding $800,000 every year. Even more concerning, many traditional control methods are gradually losing effectiveness. Fences have been reinforced, hunting efforts have intensified, and different types of traps have been deployed, yet the wild boars keep returning and have even started changing their behavior to avoid humans. If you enjoy real stories about wildlife and agriculture, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. Surveillance cameras near farms and industrial zones across Alberta have captured remarkable footage. Groups of wild boars move along drainage corridors near the edge of the forest before appearing in residential areas shortly after dark. They are not moving randomly, but instead repeating nearly the exact same route every night. In many locations, the ground has been torn up so severely that buried irrigation pipes and underground fiber optic cables have been exposed. The damage is not only expensive, but also creates serious risks for infrastructure and transportation. Many drivers have even reported seeing entire groups of wild boars crossing roads in broad daylight. After analyzing data from the surveillance cameras, wildlife biologists discovered something alarming. Wild boars are no longer simply invading human environments. They're beginning to integrate human spaces directly into their movement network. Drainage systems, crop fields, industrial areas, and even small towns are gradually becoming part of their migration map. But where did this story begin? According to research records, the first wild boars appeared in Alberta in the late 1980s. They were European wild boar hybrids imported for commercial farming operations. Some farms had weak fencing systems, allowing animals to escape into the wild. Over time, these escaped boars formed stable breeding populations long before monitoring systems were fully established. Ironically, Alberta's vast agricultural landscape turned into the perfect environment for the species to thrive. For an omnivore like the wild boar, the region became almost like an endless feast. Wildlife management teams quickly realized that targeting individual animals would never be enough to control the growing population. To be effective, they had to target entire sounders at once. That realization led to the deployment of a new solution: large circular trapping systems. The circular design prevents the animals from feeling cornered, reducing panic and lowering the chance of escape attempts. Surveillance cameras are installed around the trap, allowing operators to monitor the herd in real time. Only when the entire group has entered does the remote trigger activate. The heavy steel gate drops almost instantly and locks into place immediately. These traps are built extremely strong, using deep-driven steel T-posts and high-tensile welded wire panels designed to withstand powerful impacts when the animals panic. TO significantly reduce wild boar populations. Experts estimate that more than 70% of the animals in affected regions must be removed every year. This is a number that traditional hunting methods can rarely achieve, with success rates often reaching only 10 to 20%. That solution was the large-scale trapping systems, however, can achieve much higher results because they are capable of capturing entire sounders in a single activation. In many regions where this strategy has been implemented, wild boar numbers have gradually started to decline over time. This is not just a temporary reduction, but a sign of a more effective long-term population control strategy. What do you think about this behavior-based approach to controlling wild boars? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
The absence of natural predators has left a gap in the ecosystem, and wild boars have moved in fast to fill it. They're no longer staying deep in the forest, they're pushing into residential areas, tearing up the ground and destroying everything in their path. Emergency calls from farms are no longer rare, they're a clear sign the situation has gone beyond control. From the tracks on the ground, we followed the movement routes of the entire sounder. Freshly rooted soil led straight to the forest edge, where they regularly moved in and out to feed. Based on that pattern, the trap system was set directly along their travel paths, not randomly, but with precise calculation. This step is critical, because one wrong placement can render the entire plan useless.
Como un pozo, uno
Tiene que ser 6 pies.
está interesante y le vamos a dejar una cámara que grabe.
El cuerpo hace ruido.
The results showed up the very next morning. Inside the first one-way drop gate trap was a massive boar, its size and weight clearly marking it as a fully grown, highly dangerous animal. The moment it saw us, its entire body tensed, bristles raised, ready to react. It was a clear reminder, catching one doesn't mean controlling the whole group. We kept waiting until nightfall, when their activity peaks. The scent of bait and the presence of their own kind drew the entire group back. One by one, they entered through the angled one-way gate. Once it dropped, every push only forced it tighter shut. No gaps, no way back. The moment they realized they were trapped, the entire group erupted, slamming violently against the steel frame. But this time, the structure held firm. At another location, a lone boar walked into the trap without hesitation. It fed calmly until the mechanism triggered. The steel gate dropped in an instant. The animal reacted by lunging at the cage walls, spinning in the confined space, but everything was already locked down. There was no escape. At the same time, another trap signaled success, showing that the multi-point setup was starting to pay off. When morning came, the most difficult phase began, safely relocating the captured animals out of the area. Every move had to be precise, from securing the transport cage to guiding the animal inside. One wrong moment, and it could turn and charge head-on. There's no room for rushing. Every step must be calculated, and once completed, the entire destructive group is removed from the area.
How you manage to do that?
On today, man, we can't be straggling. Hey, Roy, KCJ,
Let's go.
But the job doesn't end there. Wild boars don't disappear, they retreat. When natural food sources become scarce, they come back. That's why the system isn't just a temporary solution, it has to stay ready at all times. Controlling wild boars isn't about luck, it's about combining tracking, scent management, and a deep understanding of their behavior. In other areas, the same strategy is applied on a larger scale. Instead of small traps, we use modern corral systems designed to capture entire sounders at once. Cameras, automatic feeders, and remote controls allow the entire process to run without direct human presence. Once enough animals are inside, a single signal activates the system, ensuring none can escape. The key to this method lies in timing. Trigger too early, and you only catch part of the group while alerting the rest. Wait too long, and the risk increases. Every decision is based on camera data and real behavioral patterns. This isn't a random reaction, it's a controlled, systematic strategy optimized for each situation. At first, they were just scattered signs. But once connected, they revealed the presence of an entire group. Without timely action, the damage would spread across the entire region. Placing traps at multiple points along their movement routes allows control right at peak activity, before it goes beyond intervention. If you find this approach effective, drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to follow for more real-world control strategies like this.
Run, forward!
A large herd of wild boars appears directly inside the cultivated area, moving in clearly defined groups. They do not scatter but maintain even spacing, forming a coordinated formation with strong cohesion. As they push deeper inside, the herd begins rooting continuously, tearing up the soil across a wide area. Patches of earth are overturned in sequence, while crops quickly collapse in different sections. The activity is synchronized and sustained, causing the affected area to expand rapidly. When humans appear, some individuals immediately react, pausing briefly to observe before quickly retreating out of the area, showing a high level of alertness. The camera system captures the herd's activity clearly at different times of day. The footage shows them following fixed routes, returning to the same area multiple times with behavior that barely changes. In several close encounters, when humans approach at short distance, the herd quickly disperses, but still maintains a shared direction of movement. A few larger individuals respond more aggressively, turning back briefly before retreating. These situations reveal that the herd can react quickly and is difficult to control individually, making it necessary to shift toward a coordinated, group-based control strategy. To assess the entire area, aerial surveys are conducted using a helicopter flying multiple passes. From above, the disturbed land appears as long, continuous strips. These traces connect with each other, forming clearly identifiable movement corridors. The most heavily impacted zones are typically aligned along these paths. Based on this, the herd's primary direction of movement is determined. Key intersections and concentration areas are mapped out precisely. Using the collected data, trap locations are selected with accuracy, creating the conditions needed to control most of the herd in a single, effective operation. The trap is placed directly along the habitual routes the herd frequently uses. The surrounding environment is left unchanged to avoid altering their natural behavior. Bait is distributed from the outside, gradually leading inward into the trap area. This setup creates a natural pathway, allowing the herd to approach without changing direction. The main bait is positioned at the center, where it has the strongest attraction. Once completed, the trap area gradually becomes a familiar feeding point for the herd, significantly increasing the frequency of their return. During subsequent visits, the herd begins approaching the trap area along the established bait trail. At first, only a few individuals enter to explore. When no signs of danger are detected, others quickly follow. The number inside increases steadily with each movement wave. The herd gradually moves deeper inside, gathering around the area where the bait is most concentrated. The distance between individuals narrows, indicating that their level of caution has decreased. Their movement becomes more stable and natural with each repeated approach. When most of the herd is inside the trap area, the activation moment is carefully chosen. Some individuals are still moving inward, while those already inside cluster around the food source. At that point, the trap system is triggered. The gate shuts quickly, sealing off all exits in a very short time. The boars react immediately, rushing in different directions to find a way out but failing. Some individuals collide with the trap edges before stopping. The entire process happens quickly and efficiently, capturing the majority of the herd in a single operation. After the trap is triggered, the system is checked to ensure stable operation. The herd is contained inside and handled according to the planned procedure. Transportation is carried out carefully to ensure safety. Controlling the population helps reduce damage to the cultivated area. When properly maintained, this method contributes to stabilizing the environment and preventing repeated impacts in the future.
Across the vast lands of Texas, where farms stretch over large and varied areas, wild hog populations have begun to appear in significant numbers. They move in large groups, staying connected rather than scattering, maintaining cohesion across the herd. As they enter cultivated fields, they quickly spread out and begin rooting through the topsoil. Long strips of overturned earth appear, fences are pushed out of place, and crops show clear signs of damage. The sheer size of the landscape makes control more difficult, as the herd can move continuously between multiple areas without clear boundaries. Camera systems installed around the area begin capturing the full scope of the herd's activity. Footage shows them appearing at different times, not only at night but also during the day. Each sighting involves a large number of individuals moving quickly and in an organized manner. In some cases, when people approach, the hogs immediately scatter but still maintain a shared direction of movement. A few larger individuals tend to react more aggressively before retreating. These observations indicate that direct approaches are ineffective and that a larger-scale solution is required. To gain a broader perspective, helicopters are used to survey the entire area from above. From this vantage point, disturbed ground patterns appear as long, continuous strips. The damaged areas are not isolated but connected, forming clear movement corridors. These routes extend across multiple properties, indicating that the herd follows consistent paths. Certain locations with dense concentrations of disturbance are identified as frequent return points. Based on this data, selecting intervention sites becomes more precise, enabling a more organized approach to controlling the herd. Using the identified movement corridors, traps are deployed directly along the routes the herd frequently uses.
Bem aqui na volta da serra. Vou aguardar pouco.
The surrounding environment is left unchanged to avoid creating unfamiliar conditions. Bait is distributed from the outer edges inward, forming a natural pathway that guides the herd into the trap without altering their usual movement patterns. The primary bait is placed at the center to draw the animals deeper inside. Once set, the trap remains stationary and gradually blends into the environment, avoiding any signs that might trigger suspicion. After the traps are installed, continuous monitoring is maintained over several days to evaluate the herd's response. At first, only a few individuals enter the area to investigate, while others remain at a distance observing. As no danger is detected, more individuals begin to enter with each return. The herd gradually forms a habit of approaching the site more frequently. Their level of caution decreases over time, and the trap area becomes a familiar feeding point within their natural behavior. As the herd becomes accustomed to the trap site, the number of animals entering increases rapidly in waves. Smaller individuals move in first, followed by the rest of the herd, gathering around the central food source. When most of the herd is within the controlled area, the trap is triggered remotely at the right moment. The gate closes quickly, blocking all exits in a matter of seconds. The hogs react immediately, rushing in different directions in search of escape, but without success. The entire process is swift and effective, capturing the majority of the herd in a single operation.
See that one? Yeah.
After activation, the system is quickly checked to ensure it is functioning properly.
Get in there. Hey.
The herd is contained inside and handled according to the established plan. Transport is carried out carefully to minimize any risks. Once the population is controlled, the pressure on the farmland is significantly reduced, and the level of damage declines over time.
Get in there. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, one shot. Hang on, I can get it. Hang on.
In many rural areas of the United States, wild hogs have crossed the line from a potential threat to a daily, tangible pressure. They no longer lurk deep in forests but appear directly in fields, slipping through fences and tearing up farmland within hours. What they leave behind is not just tracks in the damp soil, but destroyed crops, damaged irrigation systems, and a lingering sense of anxiety for farmers. What concerns managers most, however, is not the scale of destruction, but the animal's remarkable adaptability. Traditional control methods that were once effective are gradually losing their impact. Wild hogs learn quickly. They recognize threats, alter movement patterns, and avoid traps with striking precision. As a result, the old approach, focusing on individual animals, is no longer suitable. That a new mindset has emerged: sounder level control. Instead of pursuing individual animals, the goal now is to understand and intervene in the behavioral structure of the entire group within the shortest possible time. This is not a race of speed, but a game of patience and calculation. 3 key elements are prioritized: accurately reading movement patterns, creating a naturally attractive environment, and executing simultaneous control without leaving any individuals behind at in this context. The Jerger Pro trapping system is considered a significant advancement. Unlike traditional single-animal traps, this design operates as a large-scale guiding structure. Panels are set up along familiar travel routes, forming an invisible corridor that directs the sounder along a predetermined path. Everything is installed securely, step by step, to ensure the entire system functions reliably.
Bit. Yeah. Just keep your toes out of the way.
What sets this system apart is how it blends into the animal's natural behavior. There is no pressure, no chasing. The trapping area is designed as a neutral space where wild hogs can enter, feed, and interact as usual over several consecutive days. During this time, the entire group's behavior is observed and recorded, from the lead animals to the smallest individuals.
No way. A turkey hen is gonna go on this pig truck.
Rather than activating at the first sign of presence, the system waits. It acts only when all conditions reach an optimal point, when the entire sounder has fully gathered, when alertness has disappeared, and when all movements become slow and natural. That is the moment when vigilance is nearly non-existent. Then, in a split second, the entire mechanism is triggered. Gates close simultaneously with near-perfect precision. There is no chasing, no prolonged chaos, just a decisive sound that seals every exit. The sounder has almost no time to react. By the time they realize what is happening, it is already overdone.
That is a big pig. What? You want?
IT is this element of total surprise that creates the core advantage. No individual escapes carrying the memory of danger. No warning signals are transmitted. This means avoidance behavior does not develop in the future, a point that traditional methods have rarely achieved.
And they don't get the recognition.
Immediately after activation, priority shifts to post-capture management. The interior space is kept stable, minimizing stress for the animals. Monitoring is conducted quickly to ensure no serious injuries, and the entire transport process is carried out using specialized equipment, strictly complying with...
Kick it, Mary. These bars took the wire off. We got them loaded. We'll see them next. Got them all loaded.
Current regulations that in the United States, wild hog control is no longer a reactive measure, but has become part of a sustainable agricultural strategy. Every step is guided by clear principles: legal compliance, prioritization of humane methods, and a long-term balance between production and ecosystem health. Because even a small mistake can compromise the entire system.
Mira, la familia entera va...
Ultimately, effectiveness does not come from rushed actions, but from a correct understanding of the animal's natural behavior. When strategy is built upon their own instincts, control is no longer a confrontation, but a process of guidance. And when done correctly, not only are crops protected, but the entire ecosystem gradually returns to its natural balance.
Jabalí con detalles de ser...
More than 150 pounds of solid muscle, razor-sharp tusks, and an out-of-control breeding rate are turning large farming regions into real battlefields. Traditional steel traps are slowly losing their effectiveness against wild boar herds that are becoming smarter and far more cautious. As a wildlife control team in Texas, we understand that this fight cannot be won through brute force alone.
Let me just slim down. On foot.
That's when Pig Brig entered the picture, a soft net trapping system that is flexible yet almost impossible to break. The entire team immediately got to work. Each person took their position, moving together with the precision of a system we had practiced countless times before. Heavy hammers slammed repeatedly into the ground, driving steel posts more than 7 feet deep into the hard soil. The Pig Brig net was carefully suspended into place while fermented corn bait was spread from the outer edge all the way to the center of the trap. Near the edge of the forest, a large herd of wild boars quickly appeared after dark. They eagerly pushed toward the fermented corn scattered deep inside the net without realizing the danger waiting ahead.
Darkness.
Out in the shadows, a few scout hogs remained perfectly still, constantly sniffing the air, listening, and studying every small movement before deciding to move forward.
Mine.
The next morning, we returned to the site to inspect the results. The instant the herd spotted human figures approaching, panic exploded inside the trap. Wild boars of every size charged wildly in every direction, repeatedly slamming into the net walls in desperate attempts to escape. But every effort was useless. The soft net absorbed the full force of each collision and bounced right back without tearing apart. After several days, we noticed the herd beginning to change its travel routes. Because of that, a new trap site was set up in an open area between the forest and the farmland. During the early stage, the bottom edge of the net was rolled upward to create a sense of safety. Bait continued to be spread from outside to inside, allowing the boars to move freely in and out without resistance. This was the most important step, gradually convincing the herd that the trap was simply another harmless part of the environment. When the cameras finally sent an alert, a group of hogs weighing around 80 pounds slowly approached the site. They stood outside for a long time, constantly sniffing along the edge of the net before cautiously lowering their heads to eat small amounts of bait. But eventually, the lure of the food overcame their fear. They pushed their snouts deeper, then slowly stepped completely inside the trap. Everything happened so quietly that the herd barely realized the entrance had closed behind them. The following morning, under the blazing sunlight covering the empty field, we walked toward the trap with that familiar feeling of anticipation. Inside was pure chaos. The entire herd was desperately fighting to escape. Dust exploded into the air as the heavy bodies smashed repeatedly against the steel post system. We stayed patient for several more days, allowing the boars to become completely comfortable with the presence of the net. Once we confirmed they had started willingly entering the trap to feed, I lowered the net further but intentionally left a small opening at the entrance. It was a carefully calculated psychological trap, designed to lure even the most cautious hogs deeper inside. Eventually, the results came. After days of monitoring, we captured a massive 140-pound boar along with its entire herd. They slammed into every corner, spun in circles, and viciously bit at anything in front of them. The entire steel post system shook violently under the raw power of the herd. But the harder they fought, the more exhausted they became. Every possible escape route had already been sealed shut. Controlling wild boars has never been about brute strength alone. It is a game of patience, tracking skills, and understanding the behavior of these animals with absolute precision. When field experience is combined with smart systems like Pig Brig, we are determined to protect the crops, land, and livelihoods of local farmers.